I'm not gonna play this video. I did want to highlight it though, just because of how kind of silly it was. This was an additional video where I guess what we'll do is we'll play the bumper of it because the bumper is pretty funny. It plays some like pretty hard rocking music, and I guess I won't need to explain it. I think the bumper will tell us all what's happening in this video. But let's just say it's taking place at the Winnipeg Center for Canadian Human Rights, and they're going to try to make some point about it. So this is we're now at the Rebel content, but we're not going to watch this whole video. I just wanted to comment on this video in particular because of how silly this is. But then it's 14 minutes long, so there's like an element in which the silliness won't sustain us for 14 minutes. Okay, but we'll get a taste of it because I just couldn't resist wanting to share this with the world of how silly these people are. So here we go. This is going to be the first thing I share.
Sender.
Well, the person in this video full sends it. We get a 100% full send, all right?
At the museum, we talk about human rights. We talk about the fact that we all have different perspectives and ideas on what that means. But we want to come together and share one another's
What we need is like more lo-fi hip-hop beats for all like museums.
Those different perspectives and ideas.
I dig it.
In the hopes that we are going to gain an understanding and respect for one another's ideas.
I can't tell if they like zoomed in on this video to like
Just
make
for the
her
eyes,
look
yeah.
like, because if this was really shot for them, like she seems nice and all, like it's just like the zooming in on her face and like having those facial expressions is like a bit weird for this video. Over
Kinda
top
rude,
of
I would say.
well, I don't know. She just seems like someone who gives tours at the Human Rights Museum.
Yeah, you get a little expression there. It's the standard museum tour guide thing.
I don't think she's pandering. I think she like it says this is from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. So this is literally someone who just like come on in and learn about the human rights. Like I think she works for the museum. It's just that, like I can admit the eye movements were just a little like off-putting for me. We're like like this.
She's
You know, I'm sure like I don't want to like make fun of like looks. It's just like
unfortunate for her, yeah.
yeah, it was just like weird facial expressions for like the underlying message of human rights in this video.
I feel like she got a note last time she did a video. Like, you need a bit more
Yeah.
eye energy.
We need you to act with your eyes. All right. Let me tell you about human rights. Yeah, there's definitely some of that energy.
And
Different
respect
tour
for
guides
one
have
another's
different things,
ideas.
but yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, yeah, like different tour guides or like museum guides have like different expressive ways. Like I've seen people where it's like they throw their arms around basically, or it's like, oh geez, you're gonna hit somebody with those. But I don't know, some people are less bodily animated and more facially animated. It
Yeah.
depends, I guess.
And hello, Eric.
And through dialogue, we can move forward into a better life together.
Why am I not allowed in
What
here
do you think
again?
of
I
this
just would
music?
like to get to the fourth floor.
Because of the public health order.
I want it. Public health order for what?
This is the only museum in North America of human rights.
Right.
Oh my god, no, what?
That only those who are vaccinated.
That says right. Okay, the regulation is that only those who are vaccinated, because that gives a problem then. You get laid off because they shut it down for whatever? I don't even know who's the, and then you're back to, and it's just like, oh no.
Regulations going for about 2 weeks. I used to know that 2 weeks before.
There's so many people standing outside.
Music has been jarring too.
Yeah, I know.
Protecting.
So they got like expert editors on the case here.
You guys should be locking every one of these guys in by hand into this building, though. The fourth floor of this building is a very huge significance. It's exactly why we're here.
Whoever's doing the editing though, I gotta say, is making his voice like pop out that much more and making it more
I don't
like,
think
alarming.
I don't think that was an editing thing. It like if you could tell by the video, there's like huge like these huge walls. So like that's just an echo effect of him talking, and that's gonna just create shitty audio.
Yeah, maybe just happenstance. It worked out decently, I guess, for the mood, I guess.
I just read Eric's
uh,
comment. COVID is so whatever, man. Let's just rock out to some Stone Sour.
oh jeez.
Uh, I mean, no, like, not a huge Stone Sour fan, but I would not insult him by comparing whatever whatever free to publish rock music was playing during this to Stone Sour. So the premise of this video, and we're not going to watch the whole thing, is I guess this guy here who's pointing to the side here tried to get into the human rights building, and the human rights building was like, you have to wear a mask to get into the human rights building. Those are the regulations. And then he's like, I want to go in and see the Holocaust exhibit, which is like very pertinent to what's happening here. You're preventing me from going to see the thing, and that's indicative of the thing I want to see. That is sort of
This performative bullshit angle.
and so
God, I hate these
yeah,
idiots.
nothing is then somehow they have to mention that it was Pierre Trudeau apparently who inspired the construction of this thing in
Cool.
Winnipeg. So apparently that's like evidence of how horrifying it is. So then Sydney Fizzard, who's the Rebel News employee who's doing this piece, then was like,
Food.
I can't even eat at the hotel restaurant because I'm not vaccinated, and I can't eat at the restaurant across the street from the Human Rights Museum because I'm not vaccinated. And then he tries to enter himself into the building, and he gets told, "No, you can't because of the regulations." And that's it. That's the end of this video. But it's just like,
Please. Oh, sorry. No.
this here is Sydney Fizzard. Funny name for a funny guy here, Sydney Fizzard. And I just like, there was no point in playing this video because obviously it's like, okay, just an asshole trying to get into a building without a mask on or a vaccine. And it gets to a point where like, do they make it sound like not being able to enter a building is a violation of their human rights? And I want to be like, there's tons of things that you can't do to enter a museum in Canada. I'm not. What is it? I'm not allowed to just enter a public space completely shit faced. Why are you going against my human rights to drink whatever alcohol I want and be publicly decent? Like, or even better yet, I'm pretty sure there are laws against walking nude through the human rights exhibit in Winnipeg. Like, you're not allowed to just go through the museum completely buck-ass naked.
Or in Speedo.
Or in a well, yeah, but like, sure. But at what point is it like now you're violating their human rights by being nude or something? Like, it's just like, they seem perfectly fine with that shit. So like preventing people from walking nude through the museum. They're perfectly cool with discrimination there. They're just mad about this vaccine thing. And it's like they never ever in any of these videos follow up with what, like, why might they have in place regulations that would prevent people from walking around without a vaccine? Why might that be in place? Because once you go down that path, you have to explore, well, is COVID real? Do the vaccines work? Are you harming other people? And they never, ever, in any of these fucking videos, ever address those points. It's always just like, you're discriminating. This is the new segregation. It's like the Holocaust. And it's like, as far as I'm aware, segregation was bad because there was nothing that black people were doing that was bad. You were just being racist. Where here, people who don't get vaccinated are spreading diseases to people. That is a real harm. It has a real effect, And no matter how. That's your mistake. Sorry, go for it.
That's your mistake. You're skipping the first principle of, are we dealing with a pandemic?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, there's times where they admit like a pandemic is happening, and then there's times where they're constantly going back and forth on this. But then it's like, as soon as you're like doing content like this, you're explicitly stating like there is, like, you might agree that there is this thing called COVID-19, but you're actually saying it doesn't matter. It has no effect. We can just ignore it, and who cares? it's not really that terrifying of a thing, you know.
But but Jody, you're infringing. It's like you're infringing on someone's right to go through a chemo ward with coughing all over the place. Their freedoms are being infringed. You know.
The Human Rights
Uh,
Museum. I love that. Like it's
yeah.
like they're just because it's a human rights museum, that's like it's a symbol that they can be like, see, even the Human Rights Museum is discriminating against us. What does
That's
that tell you?
performative. Yeah.
Well, it's almost like they're trying, like in their own like backhanded way, to criticize human rights. They're all hypocrites. This Trudeau Human Rights Building, even they like censor us and take away our human rights. Who's on the board of this museum? The woke mob. Well, like I don't even know if they mentioned like who was on the board, but they literally, like as I said at the beginning, they tie the building to Pierre Trudeau as if that
Like
because
somehow
so
the old man still like controlling the place from the grave.
yeah, so this guy, Dr. Israel Asper, and I know nothing about him, but he basically said that the inspiration behind the construction of the building was to basically create a building that reflects the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that Pierre Trudeau's government passed, basically. They sound like the crying baby in my lap. Yes. Yes. How ironic would it be if they let people into the museum with COVID and someone opens up one of the exhibits years later and kills someone? Sure. Well, the thing is, like, I wonder, like, you could say it's like a human right. I wonder, like, if you reflect on like where society would be in terms of looking back at this time period, and it's probably not going to reflect well on the anti-vaxxers. Like most
Oh
of us,
no.
most of us today, when reflecting on the Spanish flu, when you find out that there was like a San Francisco anti-mask league, we mock them because of how silly they were back then for not wearing masks. And it's going to be a similar thing when it comes to our anti-vax movement.
Well, even with measles, that still has a not necessarily ancient, but like it's an older examples of like people being obstinate against the vaccines when they first came out. And now it's we still have that with people who don't get the vaccines. Like whenever there's an outbreak, it's obviously with the cases of people who haven't been vaccinated or the immunocompromised. It's something that's still happening without COVID.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, I mean, anti-vaccine people just have been around forever. Sadly, I mean, it's there's a part of it which is that it's always going to be here, but I mean, the hope going forward. I mean, the problem is right now it's exacerbated because we're in a global pandemic, and because of the internet itself has exacerbated some issues there. And so, because of all these things lumped together, and the fact that it was politicized by Donald Trump, that probably didn't help. That we're in the position we are right now, which is probably, I feel like things are worse on the anti-vaccine front than they have ever been because of this, and that sucks. But here we are, I guess. But either way, what a stupid fucking video.
Oh my god, yeah. Kind of curious to the full 14 minutes, but I think I'll
It's
subject myself to that later.
it's such a weird, just like long and pointless hypocrisy. Gotcha. It's just like, gotcha, human rights supporters. Look at you claiming to support human rights, and you won't let me spread disease in your facility. How dare you?
I'm not sick. I'm not coughing or anything. I'm not showing symptoms. Boo. Freedom.
I can't believe there are still anti vaxxers. Aren't all the vaccinated supposed to be dead by now, according to them? Cult mindset.
Yes and no. Some were saying that, like, oh, you'll get it. You'll die within a year or something. You'll say you'll die within 5 years. And then some will say it's like, oh, it's 20 years. It's like,
I mean,
pick a fucking date, dude.
that is actually more indicative of the cult mindset, right? Which is that sort of like, the end times is always at a like a date in the future that they can keep pushing back, right?
Oh, yeah.
So all these
It's a
vaccine harms that are going to come to us are always in the distant future where they'll never be tested for it.
perpetually moving goalposts. It's like, okay, I'll die of the vaccine in 200 years. wait for you then.
Yeah, I saw one of the dudes that Rebel had on their show. I can't remember if he was one that we went over on stream or not, but I remember looking into some of the stuff that he said, and his prediction was 40 years out. 40 years
What?
out when we start getting vaccine injuries from these COVID vaccines.
Oh my
And for
god.
one, I'm like,
that's-
even if what he's saying is true, that like this is something to do with the mRNA vaccine. How would he know that? Because we haven't had mRNA vaccines for 40 years. So like,
yeah,
so
it's,
what is it that he thinks is like he can like he's got it all figured out. He knows operationally how the mRNA vaccine works in our system, such that he knows 40 years
the
out
exact
it's
date.
gonna.
You know, it's where whose ass did he pull that out of?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is they don't. I mean, they pull out all this shit out of their ass, so it's like it really doesn't matter. They just select a date that they know they'll never have to defend. Because this dude was old enough, he's probably going to be dead before the 40 years, like before
Yeah,
we
it's like-
reach 40 years, and then he's already sold his book and whatever fucking miracle cure that he's hawking. Right?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people who've gotten the vaccine, like as far as like adults, like if you make it like say the average person's like at least like 30, it's like okay, if you make it to 70, that's pretty not maybe like a below average run, but like there's quite a few people that will die at around 70, let's say, right? So that's a pretty round number, or not necessarily round, but like it's pretty decent time to like throw a number out.
Eric, why has the vaccine given you an appreciation for 311? Why have you been listening to this like weird 90s alternative rock hip hop thing? Fusion. Whoa, amber is the color of your energy.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.